All right, well, I'll go ahead and get us started because we've got a few minutes of some intros here. So very excited to have y'all join us for another one of our Outspoken webinars. This month's topic is cultural websites that wow. We're going to be running through the top 10 things your website needs to convert more members and donors. And before I introduce myself and my lovely panel here, just a few housekeeping things. The audio for the webinar is through your computer. If you haven't used Zoom before, if something happens where the screen freezes or you get kicked out, you should be able to exit, hop right back on in. You can refresh your screen. It should pop right back up and be good to go. We love questions and comments, so feel free to use that chat bar to say any good points you might have. Use the Q&A section to ask questions. We'll get to those at the end, or if we have time kind of in the middle, we can answer those, but keep those coming. And if you do have questions, try to be as specific as possible since we will be answering most of those at the end of the day. And I'm very excited to introduce our panel today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before I officially kick us off. So first, we've got Andy McLean. She is in marketing and public relations at the Hermitage. She has more than 20 years of experience in marketing, PR, and corporate communications. She is the VP of marketing and communication at the Hermitage in Nashville, Tennessee, where she focuses on driving awareness and attendance to the home of the nation's 7th president. Her experience includes marketing communication efforts for both B2B and B2C audiences. And previously, she has managed marketing for the Hunter Fan Company's industrial division, served as the director of marketing for 2 mid-sized law firms in the Southeast, and led a marketing team at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. And next we have Hope Roth. She is an alumna of the University of Illinois Circle campus. She has a 30-year advertising career, including notable roles in Seattle and San Antonio. Currently, she spearheads marketing, sales, and communication as a VP of all of those things at San Antonio Zoo. She oversees a team of 15. Under her leadership, the zoo has experienced transformative growth with over $110 million invested in community initiatives and habitat improvements. Notable projects include the innovative Neotropica exhibit and the LEED Platinum certified Will Smith Zoo School. Now, Hope's innovative campaigns like Cry Me a Cockroach, which I had heard of before, and the Drive Through Zoo have garnered global attention, reaching over 3.5 billion on social media. She's super passionate about creativity and collaboration, and she continues to elevate the San Antonio Zoo to new heights every day. And internally, we have Birchie Ellinger. She is our website brand strategist for Speak Creative, and both of these lovely ladies were her clients. She has been at the Nashville office for 3 years. She excels in aligning website design, content, and messaging with business goals and brand values. She holds a bachelor's degree in integrated marketing communications from Ole Miss and enjoys building strong relationships with our clients to create impactful strategies for their sites. And last but not least, I am the director of agency marketing here at Speak Creative, where I have been for a year and a half. Prior to that, I worked at Blackbaud as a consultant and in marketing for the arts and cultural sector, serving organizations all over the country. My educational background is actually in the museum field. I have an undergrad and master's degree in public history and museum studies from Clemson, the College of Charleston, and the Citadel. Outside of work, I'm a huge Clemson Tiger fan. I like to play golf and explore my home of Charleston, South Carolina. So the 3 of you, thank you so much for being here today. We are thrilled to have you learn from your expertise and show off y'all's awesome websites that are already doing so well. All right, so here's our agenda for the day. Introductions. We're going to have Birchie roll through her top 10 best tips for us. And then we're going to hear from Hope and Andy and leave some time for Q&A at the end. And like I said, please use that Q&A box to drop in any questions that you have. All right, well, I will first introduce you to Speak. If this is your first webinar that you're attending with us, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. We are a full service marketing agency specializing in everything that you see on the screen here. So we serve clients in web design, like the two lovely ladies on the screen. We also work with a lot of companies for their audience growth and digital marketing initiatives and digital membership, specifically for our arts and cultural friends. We do ticket calendars, branding, member loyalty, all the things. So really, arts and cultural organizations are the bread and butter of our organization, but we serve really everybody in all industries: small businesses, independent schools, healthcare organizations, faith-based organizations, and nonprofits. So we love all of our awesome clients. And like I said, website design is definitely at the top of our list that we specialize in. We really work with high demand, mission critical websites. So if your website needs to do a lot of things, gets a lot of traffic, people making donations, buying tickets, joining as members, that's really what we specialize in: high traffic websites. We work really hard in website performance management, so we can help your website really long term. We do analytics monitoring and provide you with proactive updates. So we help kind of run your websites, but we don't just leave you hanging. We really stick with you through the long run. All right, and without further ado, I am going to pass the baton over to Birchie so she can give us her top 10 tips for arts and cultural websites. So Birchie, you should have the control now, so you can run us through.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. Yes. So the top 10 tips, my job as the brand strategist for websites is to really make sure that, every website is heading in a good direction. So these are just some tips that I have for arts and cultural websites that I wanted to kind of share with you guys today. So we're going to start off with a little bit of an engaging chat. So the first question, you guys leave your answers in the chat, is how long do you think it takes for a user to form an opinion on a website? And Lee, I can't see the chat, so let me know if any answers come in. Feel free to just take a guess.
Yeah, I'll let you know. We got some coming in. We've got 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 to 10. Okay, we got a lot.
Yeah. They're on the right track. So 0.05 seconds is how long it takes for a user to form an opinion on a website, which is very, very fast. So that's why it's so important how we build these websites. Next question: what % of users will leave a site if it has poor load speed?
Another good question.
This one's one that most people might not even think about. Like you're like, oh, if it just loads, we're good, but it really is a big factor in websites.
Well, we've got 100%, 99, 95, 85, 75, 97, 98. All right, tell us.
40%. So not 100%, but I wouldn't be shocked if there is a case study out there that says 100%. Next up, what % of users will return to a site if it is mobile friendly?
Ooh, another good question. Let's see what we get here. What do y'all think? We've got 89, 95, 82, 54, 75.
Range. Yeah, we have 74%. So yeah, a lot higher, especially nowadays, with that mobile first mentality for websites. So brings us into number 1 tip: keep the customer journey in mind. So when you're looking at the customer journey, it's really important. You need to be aware of your target audience and making sure that you are creating a good funnel for them as they experience your website. So persona workshops are really good, stakeholder interviews, things like that, to really help determine what your customer journey is going to be. So you'll think of your member, your donor, your patron, and come up with that strategy to get them where you need them to be. So, here's an example. I know Lee's used this one before. So you find that member, find them getting to the website, easy to use tickets online. They receive an email after their visit. They get to do more research within the website, and their internal team identifies the members who might be interested in increasing membership levels. And then overall, they'll upgrade their membership. And so that's helping revenue, that's helping your website and your business overall. And becoming more loyal, increasing that loyalty. Number 2 is page speed. As we know, this is very important from that last percentage point that I made earlier. The back end of sites do matter. I know a lot of people focus on, hey, we want the site to look pretty, make it really aesthetic. And of course, that is important. But at the end of the day, that functionality is really, really important. And Gen Z, the new generation that you're going to be really targeting within these next 40 years, they're not waiting very long, and they're on mobile. And yeah, it's a go, go, go society, as we know. So they won't wait. Number 3 is a clear navigation. Once you know the steps users will take, you need to add them to the site. So buy tickets, memberships, heat maps, things like that help you determine what needs to be on the website. So you can see here, for example, with Fort Worth Zoo, we've got buy tickets up here. Really obvious, since that is the big call to action for this website. But sometimes we have different things that also weigh in importance. And so we want to make sure that we call those out as well, but you have to have a hierarchy of how you want your user to experience your website. So that's why that user journey is super important. And you really need a clear navigation. Number 4 is compelling photography and video. People do not like stock photos. That personal touch really means a lot to people now, especially with scams and things going on. I read a stat that there's, over 1 billion websites on the internet. It's really easy to determine which ones are, not up to date, not up to speed. But it is really important to add that personal touch to show who you guys are. So there were some stats that if you include a video on your website, people will stay on your website longer. So there was like an 88% increase. And then if you have a video on your website, you had an average time spent of 6 minutes on your page, which is a lot longer than the average person. So here's just an example with Graceland. They have really good photography and videography on their website, and it just has a great touch. Number 5 is obvious call to actions. It's great for SEO and to increase engagement on your website. So kind of like we talked about earlier within that clear navigation, a lot of these tips kind of go together just because overall it's what makes a website do well is having those obvious call to actions. So here, for example, on the Museum, just having a lot of buttons. So when I say call to actions, that's what I'm referring to. We sometimes call it CTAs as well. That's kind of the acronym for it. But having those, it's really great for SEO. So anytime I load up a site with buttons, my SEO expert is always very excited, and they love it. So try to do that as much as possible. You also, with that, you want to make sure that every page has an action item. So with those call to actions, you don't want a user to read a page and get to the end and have no action to take, because otherwise they'll probably leave the site. So, whether it's on your blogs, you have a, related content below showing other blogs or events, related events, things like that create a better user journey for people. Number 6, an obvious one, mobile-friendly design. 54% of web traffic comes from mobile, and especially with y'all's industry, it's probably a lot higher. This is just an average number. People are trying to buy tickets online. They don't have enough time to get on their desktop unless they're at work or, kind of hanging around. Most of the time it's done on mobile. This is very crucial. This is why we show desktop and mobile views within Speak's process. That is a huge thing for us, is to be a mobile first mentality and design. 67% of users are more likely to make a purchase if the site is mobile friendly as well. So that's just another big thing. Here's an example of a mobile version versus seeing something online and on your phone. Number 7 is a mission-focused message. So copywriting is super important to tell your story. 91% of consumers expect companies to do more than make a profit. They expect companies to operate responsibly and address social and environmental issues. This is a huge thing that's kind of been a trend the past few years, is really showcasing, hey, what are you guys doing for the community? People like to see that and are more willing to make a purchase with a company that they can see these efforts on a website. And then number 8 is intuitive events in a ticket calendar. So this improves the overall user experience. It increases engagement. It streamlines ticket purchases and it increases loyalty. I can't tell you how many times I go to a site and the ticket calendar is too crazy. I can't figure out how to purchase a ticket, so I'll just show up. But having a really good user experience with that ticketing calendar or with your events, making it really obvious to the user how to buy a ticket, where to go, where to park, how much it is, all of that is really crucial when setting up pages on your site. Here's another example with the Hermitage. Setting up an events detail page is really important. This is kind of what I was referring to a second ago, having all of the information, the sponsors, anything that you want to do, showcase pictures to, just showing the credit that this has been done before, really helps and drives increasing sponsorships, donors, and ticket sales. And then last, number 9, demonstrated value of membership and donating. This is going to increase member donations, benefits, and impacts is really important to show as well, and build and trust and transparency. It enhances members and donor retention, which is huge for the arts and cultural members. And this is an example we have from the California Museum. There's also another page that they have that's a Hall of Fame one as well that they did a really good job with. But yeah, creating that donate now, those call to actions on these pages, it'll just overall attract a broader audience there. And then lastly, number 9, strong branding and design. 38% of users won't engage with a website if the layout is unattractive. So as much as the functionality matters, the design matters too. First impressions matter, as we know from the 0.05 seconds that it takes for somebody to make a decision about your website and if they want to stay on it. So that brand recognition, that professionalism, it adds that emotional connection with your brand. So, when it comes to merchandise, to the website, to your Instagram, things like that, your tone of voice, all of it really does make a difference with your website. So when you think of your favorite brand and your connection that you have it, I think about Lululemon or GoPro, things that I love their branding, the way they tell their story. I feel like I have a connection. I feel like I know them, even though I don't. So I think that's really important as you guys tell your brands with your website, with your social media marketing. So those are all my tips that I have. Here's a Discovery Park of America does a great job with that as well. So that was an example there.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Birchie. And I know, everyone's like, going really quick, trying to jot down all of those top 10 tips we just gave out. But I should have said at the beginning, this is being recorded and you all will be emailed a recording of this. And we're going to do a blog article to kind of recap our top 10 tips here. So just want to put that out there in case everybody was scrambling, because those were awesome tips. Thank you, Birchie. And now I'm excited to hear from Hope. So Hope, you should have control now, and she's going to walk us through a little bit about what the process was like at the San Antonio Zoo.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you everyone for hopping on, because I know the thought of a new website can be incredibly daunting, and it's like the world is your oyster. There's so many choices. It's kind of, how do I hone in on what's best for my organization? And I've had lots of experience doing websites. I'm the VP of Marketing and Sales here at the zoo. And before that, I had a 20-year career in automotive, and I launched a lot of websites. So coming into it, it's definitely different looking at it from an attractions, arts and cultural lens. So let me tell you a little bit about us, San Antonio Zoo. So we are the Zoological Society, and underneath that umbrella, we have different entities that the marketing team here is responsible for. So of course, there's the zoo, and then there's the Will Smith Zoo School, which we touched upon a little bit in the bio, and that is actually the largest nature-based preschool in North America. It's also LEED Platinum, and so we are literally building the future conservationists there. 4 and 5-year-olds, we are just under 250 at that school, and we're looking to expand because the wait list is over 8,000 families. So yeah, it is a thing, trust me. And then we also have what we call our edutainment. So we operate the miniature train that goes around the Breckenridge Park, which is next to the zoo. It's not in the zoo, but it's next to the zoo. And over the last 2 years, we've had a new train each year, with our 3rd new train coming on board, which will be a military themed train because we are Military City, USA. And edutainment also involves our hype squad and also our mascot. And then we have our Center for Conservation and Research. And so this really plays into also what we need to showcase on our website, because we are doing conservation work on 6 different continents around the world, not just here in our own backyard. And then finally, we have Kiddie Park. So Kiddie Park is actually the oldest children's amusement park in the US, and it was about to be just decimated, and it was going to go away. And so we decided we need to save Kiddie Park. We moved these antique rides over to property right next to the zoo and the zoo footprint. And we opened Kiddie Park, and it is free to enter, and you just buy tickets for the rides. And it's really for 12 and under. So altogether, this makes up the Zoological Society, and our vision is to secure a future for wildlife. And we are, of course, a 501c3 organization. So next, we just celebrated 110 years. So this is really exciting, May 13th. So we've been around for a while. So this is not a new brand. There are benefits with that, and then there are challenges with that as well. And then our mission, which is different than the vision, but our mission is to love, engage, act, and protect. And so that's also something that we really take to heart when we were trying to build out our website and the stories that we needed to tell. Yeah. Okay, so why a new website? You'll see here in this image, it's a rendering of one of our new animal habitats that we are currently under construction on, and that is going to be Congo Falls, which will be one of the largest gorilla habitats in North America. We will be opening 4th quarter of next year, 2025, and we will open with 8 gorillas. There'll be a bachelor pod of 4 silverback, and then a family pod of 1 male and 3 females. So hopefully gorilla babies pretty soon after. And this is a huge development for our footprint that we're currently on. And then you'll see a building called the Ralston, and that is going to be an event center that overlooks Congo Falls with a 60-foot tower where the gorillas can climb up, and you could be at a wedding, you could be at a fundraiser, and it'll be who's watching who during that event. So it's a one of a kind, and we're really excited about that. That is under construction right now. We just opened a brand new zoo entrance last December, and that was the first picture on the very first slide. And truly now, when you walk up to the zoo, you know you're in San Antonio. It's got the sights, it's got the sound, and you can't think that you're anywhere else in the world other than in San Antonio, Texas. So all this growth, as well as a 10-year master plan that we will go into right after we open Congo Falls, that really drove the need to increase our software and get this website up. Speaking of new software, we did move away from AllTrue Blackbaud, and we are now with CoreTech, because the volume and the ticketing software were really a lot more than what the Blackbaud AllTrue could offer us. And then our old site was incredibly dated. I mean, yuck. It was just yucky. I will be here 6 years in November, and we launched that website the month after I got here, and they had been working on it for years. So I believe the theming was already tired before we even launched. So I'm really excited that we needed something new. And then our path to purchase was beyond clunky. It was not easy for one of our guests to make a donation or to purchase a ticket, which is exactly what we needed them to do. And it lacked any SEO. So it was literally built without SEO in mind, and trying to add that after the fact was more challenging. And so we really needed to focus on SEO so that we could make our marketing work better for us. Okay, so what did we want to come out of that? So you look here, this is an image of our old website. And as you can see, it's actually dark. And our zoo was dark. The entrance was brown. I mean, everything was very muddy looking, and you know, we needed to brighten it up. We needed to liven it up. And so some of the things that we had to have in our new website was definitely an improved path to purchase. The old theming, we couldn't even put plugins in. And so we were trying to do all kinds of crazy stuff on the back end. We, of course, moved to GA4, and that literally about broke everything on the old site. The old site did not take ADA compliance into consideration at all, as you could tell by a lot of the backgrounds, and you could tell by a lot of just the images there. And then, like I mentioned, on the SEO. So these are things that we really needed to make happen in our new site. So let's look. Oh my goodness. So this is just a quick little screenshot. And as you can see, it is bright. It is exciting. There is so much energy. And that was really important to us. The papel that you see, which is very San Antonio there, that actually hangs in our courtyard when you walk through the zoo entrance. So we're actually able to pull things in that you will see when you come to the zoo. There's a video that shows the new gates opening on the homepage of the zoo. That didn't affect the load time, by the way, because that was something that we were very concerned about taking into consideration. So the design now is amazing, and we have white space. How exciting is that, right? Like, not everything needed to be covered up. I love that it has an openness, and that to me makes you feel like the zoo is expansive and that it's big, and there's a lot of subliminal messaging happening, because this could more than likely be your first exposure to our brand. So we really want to make you feel like you need to go to this zoo. We want to create that hook because we live in an incredibly competitive space. We've got the Alamo, we've got Six Flags, SeaWorld, Legoland, Sea Life. I mean, if you added it all up, we are the second right behind Tampa, Orlando for attraction. So even though people think of the zoo as a cultural museum type institution, we really operate more like an amusement park attraction, and our website really needed to reflect that as well. We put those photos that Bertie was talking about, right? Photos of our animals, photos of our zoo, photos of the events, and that really helped us with the storytelling there, the functionality. You could have clicked 3 or 4 pages on the old site and been lost and confused and not gotten to where you needed, and the search bar didn't work, and you know, there weren't any 404 errors, but there might as well have been, right? So it was really important for us to make sure that the functionality was seamless and you could get what you were looking for easy and quickly. And then the storytelling opportunities. We have a lot of press releases that go out and a lot of stories. And for us to be able to add our social media, which we've been really fortunate to build those platforms, to be able to use that as a benefit into our website was advantageous for us. So allowing us those synergies with the storytelling opportunity was also really important and on our new website. The improved path to purchase. I know we mentioned it earlier, but you can just see in the snapshot the big button on the right-hand side that says best value for tickets, boom. Up at the top on the sticky nav bar, tickets, boom. Bottom, you've got the tickets, boom. You can't not get away from being able to buy tickets. And one of the things that I do want to say is really important is we went 100% digital when COVID happened. We used that as an opportunity to get away from those front gates. And that helps in a lot of ways. With labor, it also has been shown to help with upsales. And now when you have our new zoo entrance, there are no ticket booths at all. You just scan, everything's digital. You just bring your phone, you've got your QR code, and in you come. So that means that everybody's going to our website to purchase tickets. And talk about mobile friendly. This was the most important thing for us, is how does this show up on mobile? How easy is it? How user friendly is it? Because that is your ticket also. And those things really needed to pair up. So when I say improved path to purchase, it was a big challenge to make sure that you were buying your ticket in the same space that you were using your ticket. And then the SEO that I talked about. So now we have so much more traffic coming to the site. It's so much more user friendly. And as we're getting ready to move into even more traffic with the opening of the gorilla habitat, all of this means the SEO is so important from a marketing standpoint. So we can go back and retarget those folks because maybe they didn't purchase this ticket that we wanted, but maybe it was a price point. Maybe we can get them to land on something else. So being able to know who is on our website, where they're going, what they're doing, and that integration with the GA4 and the SEO was really important to us. And I know we talked about the call to action. You can't get away from it. We're big on events. We're only 4 weeks out of the year where we don't have an event going on. So we needed to really showcase to people what's happening at the zoo and what's new at the zoo. So customer experience, customer journey, all of those things we really took into consideration. And I am just over the moon excited about our new website. And then, okay, so the who. So we needed it to be efficient, meaning we didn't want to be in development for 2 years and then another year, you know, like strategy and then building it. So we wanted our partner that we chose to do a new website with, we wanted them to be efficient. We also needed them to be cost effective because as you can imagine, we have a lot of capital campaigns going out. And so the actual operating budget, we need to be very thoughtful right now because we're building into the traffic, but that doesn't necessarily mean we are seeing that increased revenue just yet. So very cost effective. And we needed them to be creative. It wasn't just a, well, I can put a website together and it's not going to be fabulous. It's not going to be inventive. It's not going to be creative. So it was really important to us that we worked with somebody that thought a little bit outside the box because we do some kind of unique things. And we wanted this to really showcase who we are. And then we needed it to be responsive. Like I said, 100% digital. So it really needed to be, this is what the person needs. This is how they need it, and make that customer journey easy. And then we needed our team to also be knowledgeable. And that is, we don't want to be driving the train. We want someone smarter than us who's done a lot more websites and making those suggestions. Like, have you guys thought about doing it like this? Or showcasing, hey, we would have a meeting and it would be like, this is a possibility for this page. And we're like, love it. We would have never thought of that on our own. So we really wanted an organization, a vendor, a partner that was knowledgeable. And when I say responsive too, we needed a responsive group that actually responded to our emails in a timely fashion or could hop on a call at a moment's notice because maybe we got a crazy idea we needed to talk about or something that we wanted to address. And then last but not least, we wanted fabulous and fun people because we all have to do what we do every day. We might as well try to make it the most fun that it can be. And I will say that working with the Speak team checked all of these boxes for us. And it was actually an enjoyable experience, which I haven't really had doing websites in the past. And then that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Hope, and thank you for the kind words. I'll definitely pass that on to our project management team for sure. All right, and now we're going to get to hear from Andy at the Hermitage. So Andy, I've given you remote control here, so you should be free to drive us forward.
Perfect. Thank you guys just so much for joining, and I appreciate the Speak team inviting me to be a part of this. I'm learning so much just hearing what you guys are saying. So I am with Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. We are the home of the 7th president and located just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. We are a 1,120 acre National Historic Landmark. And we've been open since 1889. So we've been open a long time, operating as a museum. And our mission, I just threw this up here, but our mission is to preserve the home and place of Andrew Jackson, to create learning opportunities, and to inspire citizenship through experiencing the life and unique impact of Jackson. And really that mission can be summed up in 3 words: preserve, educate, and inspire. And we do that every day through tours that are offered that tell the entire story of what happened at this property. It is our privilege to be able to tell those stories. But like most of you on this call, we are a nonprofit, and so we rely heavily not just on gate admissions, but on donations. So that's a little bit about me. And Lee, I don't see the button to advance this.
It should be lower left corner to advance the slide if you hover over there.
But you can go to the next slide for me. All right. So next thing I wanted to talk about is a website redesign. Obviously, that's why we're on here to talk today. Our website launched in early 2015. So I think it was even a little bit older than the one that you guys had. I started here almost 6 years ago. So it was an old website by the time that I started. And when I started here in 2018, it was on the hearts and the minds of everybody here that we've got to launch a new website. And so it became part of our fiscal year budgets and plans, and was something that we were trekking toward having. So our old website had a lot of content. I mean, a lot of content. We've got a big story to tell. And I just remember I would land on a page about Andrew Jackson, and you would just scroll and scroll and scroll. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is not good. So in the time that I came here, we started looking at, again, analytics, finding out what pages are the most popular, how can we streamline those pages. And so with our former website vendor, we would create landing pages that made that user journey just a little bit easier. And so they were obviously cleaner, they were clearer, but they didn't match the look and the feel of the big website. So we started a process of a website redesign in early 2020. There was a group of us that met about a new website, and I went back and found the date. It was February 27th, 2020. And then we all know what happened just a few weeks later. So obviously budgets got slashed, plans got put on hold, and the website was one of those. But I kept a running list of things that we had talked about in that meeting, but then what were some challenges that our website had? What is it that we wanted to improve on? And a running list of websites that we all liked, so that when this project got approved to do again, we would have a starting place with those thoughts about it. So next thing I wanted to talk about needs. So really, again, I talked about how big our website was. And I remember when we were working on RFP, it was really 2 main things. One, I've got to make money, and that's making money through ticket sales, or it's making money through donations, or our e-commerce of our museum store, but I need to make money. And I also need to be the source of information for anybody looking for details on Andrew Jackson and that period in our country's history. So that's 2 main big things. I need to be the source, and I need to generate revenue. And then our goals. So again, we ended up having a team meeting, and out of that team meeting, we really defined 6 goals for what we wanted out of our new website. We needed to improve navigation paths that made it easier for visitors to find relevant content. I don't want them scrolling for 5 years trying to find something that should be easy and upfront for them. So we really needed to streamline our content pages. Our second goal was we needed a clean, simple homepage with easy to navigate options. I remember on our old website, we probably had 10 different options in the top nav. That's way too many. So getting down to the nuts and bolts of what we needed to streamline. Our third goal was we needed a responsive design that evokes action. And again, that action is buy ticket, give us some money. Fourth, we needed an updated dynamic visual design. And we talked about that. Birchie talked about it. That's through photos and it's through videos and it's our photos and it's our videos. Fifth, we need a tight integration with social media so that we could increase followers on each of those channels. That was a very important goal that we have here, is just increasing our social media. And then we needed to increase audience engagement and conversion. I want them to stay on my website. I want them to poke around and to keep learning. And then eventually I want to convert them into some sort of purchaser. So we kicked that process off after an RFP that Speak ended up winning in March of 2023 with the goal of launching 1 year later. And that seems like a long time for a website launch, but I also had a very large website that we needed to go through, and we're a small team here. And so we gave ourselves a year, but March 15th, 2024 was our goal date. March 15th also happens to be Andrew Jackson's birthday. And we're very thankful that his birthday falls during spring break travel season. So that kind of kicks off our busy season for us anyway. And I'm sorry to ask you, Lee, but I'm ready for the next slide. So our process really was about people and planning. When I talk about people, I've mentioned the internal meetings that we had, but we ended up having a meeting with 8 departments represented. That included our collections team, interpretation, our education team, museum store, guest services, development membership, and our CEO. I wanted all of those departments to be part of this process because it's not just marketing's website, it's a website for the organization. We had a kickoff meeting in December of 2022, and I asked all of those people to come to that meeting and take some time, but I wanted to hear from them on pain points of the current the old website, what we could do to improve that. A lot of these departments are frontline, so they're the ones interacting with our visitors all the time. And I needed to know, is there something that we could answer on the front end of our website that maybe they would take some of that pain from our frontline staff of having to do? And then what are some websites that they like? And it doesn't necessarily have to be in our space. It could be Chick-fil-A, it could be Nike, but what are some websites that you like and what do you like about them? And so we gave them a month to kind of think through and marinate on that. And we came back as a team a month later in January, and all of these things that everybody brought to that meeting, that's what we used to formulate those goals in our RFP. So kicked our RFP off February 2023, had several agencies that expressed interest. We had meetings with them. And like I said, at the end of the day, Speak ended up winning that work. And I'm very grateful. They've done a fantastic job for us. And so we got to work March of 2023. And I will say part of that people planning process is letting those various departments own their content. So whether that was the information about our education initiatives or the collections department, take their content, review it, revise it, and send it back to the marketing team and let the marketing team be that gatekeeper for this project. Nobody knows their content better than you do. And so I wanted them to own that content. The marketing team obviously planned and executed photo and video shoots. We didn't want stock photos on our website. We've been around for a long time. I have lots of really visual things that I want to show off, and I wanted it to be ours. And then I did invite some of those all those key stakeholders to the kickoff meeting that we had with Speak, because I wanted their voices to be heard, wanted them to learn about the process, and I wanted them to have a say in what our website looked and felt like. And then just keeping them involved and in that loop. And so on this very busy screen, you will see some of the screenshots from that kickoff meeting we had with Speak. And it was things like, okay, do you guys like round call to action buttons or square call to action buttons? Do you like more of an authoritative or a conversational tone? But letting those people have their voice heard. And then I just threw in some screenshots, some meeting notes that we had. And so, ta-da, you can go to the next slide. We launched our website March 5th. And this is, again, just a mishmash of different things that I pulled together. But the top left is our homepage. And I love our homepage. It's got a very great video, pulls you in and lets you just get a glimpse of what it is that we have to offer. I talked about that Andrew Jackson page before where you would just scroll and scroll. And so we really streamlined that. And at the bottom of that top right, you can see some squares. And that's how we decided to designed that page is we wanted a box where you click on it, you can learn more about his military career, you can learn more about his family, you can learn more about his presidency rather than just scrolling for days. Bottom right, you'll see an Instagram. There's an Instagram feed on our homepage, which allows you to see the top, I think it's the last 10 posts that we do, and you can interact with it right there and follow us. And then I threw in some of the mobile versions of it. Again, very easy to navigate. It's very easy to go and find what it is that you are looking for. And so I think last slide, Lee, I have been involved with several website launches and redesigns in my career, and every single time I learned some things, because you're not learning, you're not growing. And so some of the key takeaways that I learned from this process is to involve your key stakeholders and keep them up to date. Everybody's got to be kept in the loop. If you're going to ask for their opinion and their input, keep them in the loop. Second was stick to a timeline. Again, we all knew March 15th, 2024 was our goal date. And I love the input from people. And sometimes you can get input and you're like, okay, let's think about that for a minute, because that could add X, Y, and Z time to our timeline. And is that something that we want to do now? Or is it something maybe we can do post-launch? I think the third thing to keep in mind is edits and changes are inevitable. You're never going to have a perfect website. It is a work in progress. And you just have to keep one thing in mind, and that's your launch date. And then just keep in mind you can refine it at all times. Our fiscal year budget starts again July 1st, so this coming Monday. And I already have in my budget changes to the website. It's not even that old that it's time for us to start doing some of the things that we talked about we wanted to do and didn't get to. And then lastly, give yourself grace. And I think this goes with everything that you do in life. Give yourself grace. It's very important work that we're doing. I love doing it, and you should take it very seriously. But also I like to tell my team, we're not heart surgeons. We don't have somebody on the operating table with organs in our hands trying to fix them. It's a website. So give yourself grace and have fun in the process.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Andy, for that, for walking us through, and Hope. Now is our little question portion. So to get us sort of kicked off here, we had some questions that we wanted to start with, and everybody in our audience, please feel free to drop some questions in the Q&A box and in the chat box too, and we'll get to those. But the first one I want to start with here is about messaging, and I will pose this to Hope first. What sort of messaging do you want to use to communicate the value of the San Antonio Zoo?
Being a conservation and education-based entity that really leads. So we really want that messaging out there, and we want to tell that story in every way that we can. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, it's what sort of messaging do we use? So we try to tie all of our stories into it being animal related, animal welfare related, conservation related, and education related, and then making that fun, making that educational, and putting a little bit of a spin on it. So you're not taking a spoonful of medicine. Every time we talk about an animal, we show a cute, funny picture, and then you're getting that fun fact, and then you're more likely to retain it and learn it. And if you understand, then you're more likely to support. So it really starts with that. And then we hope that they become donors, or that they are donors, because they've learned that through that messaging, what it is that we do and how we do it. Does that answer the question?
Definitely. Oh, yeah. It's infusing, really, we're all mission kind of critical organizations here, being arts and cultural organizations. And our messaging and our mission is everything we do. So bottom line, sure, we want to sell tickets, but it's so much more than that. And I loved kind of the edutainment kind of idea that you brought up earlier in our presentation too, because it's really twofold with these types of organizations. Andy, same question.
Back to our mission: preservation, education, and inspiration. We have been entrusted with preserving this National Historic Landmark, so that we can educate people that come here every single day, and then inspire through citizenship and paving a better path forward.
Awesome. Love it. And one more here. So what is the best piece of advice you received while working through your website's redesign? And I'll start with Andy on this one.
That I received. I mean, this is something we all know, but it's good to be reminded. Go back and look at your analytics. Your analytics should drive most of your decisions. You may think that one page or one specific thing on your website is super important. You go back and you look and you're like, nobody's looked at that. So cut it out. Don't have it on there. So just keep your analytics in mind.
Smart. Hope, what about you?
Yeah, I reiterate that. And I think what we went over at the very beginning of this webinar, there are best practices and you need to take those into consideration. It is not just lip service. I mean, this is a well-documented path to build a website and how to do it well. So I think everything that was mentioned earlier, absolutely all the best advice that I received was mentioned there.
Great. All right, well, let's move into some audience questions. I had one that came through. Andy, this one's for you, but I hope you'll probably be able to answer this one too. So how did you manage all of the ideas and needs of the stakeholders that you got involved during the website redesign process? I know you both mentioned a lot of voices, a lot of needs and wants. So how did you kind of manage that process? And hopefully Birchie and the Speak team was kind of able to help mitigate that.
Well, I think really twofold. One, it came back to, okay, you own that content. So if this is super important for you and your team to have it on the website, then write it up and get it back to us and we'll find a way to get it on the website. And then two, we really kept hearing a lot of the same things, even across departments. So it may not necessarily have been related to our collections team or to the museum store, but if we kept hearing the same themes, then it's like, okay, then we can address this holistically with the entire site. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, I think so. Hope, do you want to chime in too?
Yeah, so we were very intentional about trying to curate all the needs and wants of a new website from each of the departments prior to bringing on our partner. And so we literally, the marketing team, and this was such a goodwill thing too, for us to sit with each of the individual departments, whether it was animal care or it was the vet staff at the animal hospital, or it was our Center for Conservation and Research. We literally had a meeting with each of them and it was kind of that info dump. And then at the end of the day, we are mission enabling, which means we have to raise the money to make all those things happen. They are the mission fulfilling, which is they take all of those funds and they're able to do the good work. So being able to also express to them the importance of this website, it really put us on a really great path. And instead of them getting this brand new website and then, you know, this is wrong, or you didn't do this, then it was, oh, well, we missed that. Or, oh, we should have said this. And so I think having that buy-in was critical for the outcome. And I would recommend too, because we're so close to it, right? That sometimes having that outside the marketing department view of the website, that was really important too. So I would say do an info dump, kind of like a mind sweep, get all of the stakeholders in the different departments, and then pull together what were those needs and wants.
Yeah, I hope that's a great one. We do a lot of stakeholder interviews as well. And I found that's been insanely helpful with websites when you have a ton of stakeholders and trying to manage a lot of ideas. If your budget allows for it, it has been incredibly helpful. I know we did that with Seattle Aquarium. So they have so many different conservation efforts. And so I got to talk to every single department and find out, hey, what is the most important thing for you that you want to convey on the website? What's going to make your life easier? Is it an FAQ section? Is it getting more donations? What is your goal? And so then being able to take that content and really structure pages based on the goals is really helpful. But I think you said it best, whether it's within Speak doing a stakeholder interview, or you getting with your team like Andy and Hope did, really looking at what their needs are and then going through it and finding a way that you guys can incorporate it is a really good way to make your site even better and work for you guys.
And one little add to that, if you do it before the RFP, it helps the RFP. And then we are going to partner with somebody who can check all those boxes instead of picking a partner and then finding out, oh, their strength really isn't in this, and that is one of our top 5 needs. So I would also say those of you that are the very beginning stages, know what you need first, and then match your partner, your vendor with that.
Yeah, and that's actually a perfect segue to our next question, which is about RFPs. So I know, Hope, y'all did this as well, so I think you can both answer here. But we would love for you guys to kind of elaborate on the RFP process. How did you decide to do that? Did you feel like it was helpful? And then how did you ultimately make your decision to find your website partner? Obviously, in this case, it was us, which we were very excited about. So, Andy, I'll let you answer that first, and then Hope can tag on there.
Okay. Well, I've been working with you guys at Speak since basically I started here. You were the first vendor that I brought on. And so selfishly, in my little heart of hearts, I was hoping you guys would win the work. But I knew this, again, it's not a me decision. It needed to be a decision that's best for the organization. And so I've done RFPs through all the various vendors that I have brought on. And it just became clear that this needed to be a bigger decision than just me. Everybody's input was important, and it seemed to me to be the fair way to do it. And so I think we had probably a dozen agencies respond to the RFP. So it was stiff competition. But then going back to what Hope was saying, making sure that what you put in the RFP, your agency can do it. So check those boxes. Don't go with somebody that just because you like something that they did, like, are they a good fit for you? And I do view my relationship with Speak, you're an extension of my team. You're not just somebody that did a project for me one time and I never talked to you again. I mean, I'm talking to somebody from your team every day about something. So you guys are an extension of my team. And so because you handle so much of my digital marketing, it made sense for a lot of reasons for you guys to take on the website work too.
And so for us, we are an in-house agency, so I have not worked with Speak before, and we put our RFP out after we did a pretty healthy competitive analysis. So we are part of the AZA, and we were able to talk to other institutions that have used Speak. And when we were looking at even who we placed the RFP out to, we grabbed who were those vendors that they used. And then we looked outside AZA, because like I said, we're a little bit, or at least we think we're a little bit larger than just that zoo and aquarium. And so we were looking at who does that website, who does that website. So we weren't just like a big blanket. We already had kind of curated who we knew their work, and then we put the RFP out and then had meetings. And trust me, it was a lot of meetings, but it's much better to front end load that than be halfway through a project and go, this is just, not going to be what we want or need. So I highly recommend cultivating your list of who you're going to appeal to prior to the RFP launch.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are actually at the top of the hour. I knew this was going to go so fast because we had such great panelists today. If anybody does have any other follow-up questions, please send them our way. Like I said, I will be sending out a recording of this momentarily. So probably in the next few days here when the recording gets finished generating. And we are going to do a kind of blog recap for all of our top 10 tips. And then some of the points that Andy and Hope made today. So definitely look for that as well. If you would like to be a panelist on one of our webinars coming up, feel free to shoot me an email. We're always looking for great panelists like Andy and Hope. They just totally knocked it out of the park today. And we would love to feature more people in all these different roles on our webinars. And then if you want to have any more resources or, check out our website, we would love for you to do that. So you can go to madebyspeak.com. We have our resource center, which is filled with tips and tricks and blogs and all of our recordings from previous webinars. And I just want to wrap up by giving a huge thank you to Hope, Birchie, and Andy for being here. I learned a lot from listening to you ladies, and I'm sure our panelists and our audience did as well. So thank you all again so much. And everybody else, thanks for attending. And we'll be doing another one of these in August. So keep an eye out for my emails where we will do a new topic. All right. So thank you all, and we will see you next